This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 230 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
The Real Word, which is getting some more big-time notoriety.
How do you feel about it?
I feel great. We're going to talk about it at the end.
This morning. I like it.
The marketeer of the week.
Like you're like a new girlfriend or something.
By the way, Nicole, here on episode 230, we're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the last marketeer ever.
I didn't think you were going to profess that today.
Well, I think that's a confess, not a profess.
I think you could profess it.
You could profess or what does profess mean?
Well, confessing means like you're like it's a like you're confessing.
Okay, yeah.
Profess is like you're putting
it out there.
Yeah.
So maybe you are right.
I'm not. Maybe Haley can Google those real quick.
Let us know in the comments if it would be professing, talking into the future. I guess that would make sense.
No, it's not into like you're putting it out there, like you're professing, like I feel like you hear it a lot when you're professing your love, like you're like.
I'm professing a potential new segment for the last segment.
So the funniest thing is,
and if you're totally against it, I'd love to know in the comments.
No, I don't think anyone's going to be against it. I feel like we brainstorm these types of changes every week. And then it's like next week, like it's going to be 10 minutes before the show, and you're going to be like, "Shit, what did I say I was going to do?"
I want to get some feedback. What do you think? We have a lot of marketing content going out with BAM. You could certainly watch, which we're going to talk about later in the show, over AskPod, and get a lot of marketing stuff there. Mm-hmm. Walkthrough, we usually do a marketing segment. So I got a new twist on maybe not a marketeer, but we've got a special marketeer because it actually involves us.
You usually use the P word, and it makes me a little nervous.
No. All right.
Okay.
We're going into Racket number 1. That's the word we always use on the show, the R word,
Maybe they can
Racket.
guess what the P word is.
Maybe.
What's
Guess
the
below
P word?
if you think you know what the P word is. All right. Racket number 1, homebuyers are canceling deals at the highest rate since the start of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Everybody's reporting it. This is the big real estate news of the week. It's in Wall Street Journal. It's in CNBC.
It's everywhere.
Inman's reported. We'll link up the Inman and the CNBC. We can link them both up. I've got them both below. All right. So about 60,000 home purchase agreements were canceled in June 2022.
Alone.
Or about 14.9% of all homes that went under contract throughout the month. This is according to a new report from Redfin. Let's put up the Redfin chart.
Love it.
It shows us exactly kind of where we've been at the start of the pandemic and where we are now. Obviously, the 2 months.
We haven't peaked yet, but we're certainly on that way.
We have not reached the level per month of canceled deals that we were in March and April of the pandemic. March 2020, 17.6 deals were canceled. That makes sense, right? It's 100%. Like, what's about to happen?
People were panicking. People were walking away from money. Remember those people at High? That lady walked away from like $300,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
A $300,000 deposit. I'm sure in your market, let us know. Like, what's the biggest deposit somebody just walked away from back in March and April? April 2020, 16.4%. So 17.6 in March, 16.4%. Then it dropped right off. 14.9% is now the highest month since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, to put this into context, June 2021, 11.2% of deals were canceled.
Yep.
All right, so here's one of the reasons why.
Look, if you look at the chart here, it always seems like June seems to be when it starts to go back up again.
Makes sense because there's a lot of deals in June.
Yeah, we argue that. Yeah.
So Nicole doesn't think there's a lot of. She thinks there's no deals in June because her personal business goes down every year in June.
I didn't say that.
I think she's just.
I didn't say that.
Starting summer early.
No, well, we're talking about deals though, not closed. Because that's two different conversations.
Correct. All right, so here is a big reason why it is referenced in these articles. In June of 2021, no winning offers really had inspections attached to them. So what was your out? Like, you're going to walk away from your deposit? We saw that in maybe March and April where you were just walking away from deposits because some people thought the world was over.
Yeah, but you still had a mortgage contingency in there.
Yeah, you could get out with the mortgage contingency maybe. But in June of last year, you had really no outs because a lot of cash deals.
Oh, yeah, you were whoring yourself, for sure.
You weren't doing inspections. You were waiving them.
You were lucky if you even got in to see the house, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And now buyers are doing inspections again. So what happens when you do an inspection? You see things you didn't realize. You're like, I don't want to spend that much money doing this. And then it just gives more time for the buyer to think. And this is what happens to some buyers. Some buyers don't want to admit it, but this is what happens. Mm-hmm. Oh, did you just see that? Did you just see that property that just hit the market? Did you just see that? It just come up on my app.
So they're now like questioning their purchase.
Like I kind of like that property better.
That's why it's always so agents out there. If you have your clients on like an automatic like email through the MLS, shut the shit down as
when they're
soon
under contract?
as they're under contract. 100%. You have to. I think the biggest.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, 100%. Even
all right,
after,
in the comments, you agree with that? I would say no. Just keep it going.
Even after it
Let them be educated.
closes, close the shit down. You don't want them like regret, and then it's of course your fault.
I want them to be interested in real estate. I want them to see it. I want them to see the market.
Not. Let's close it first. All
right. Well, in the comments, what do you prefer?
I do think though that I bet you the biggest thing that buyers were running into this month though is that they were then now finally having to lock into a rate because they were now under contract, and that rate was
100%.
way out of their league, and they could no longer afford the house that they originally thought that they could buy.
I would agree with you. That's probably bigger than the issue that they talked about in these articles that I just mentioned, where people are backing out due to inspections. The interest rate sticker shock. They were thinking one number from a couple months ago, and now they're canceling the deal in June. Yeah.
I mean, if these people have been looking long enough, I mean, they haven't even updated their payment.
Here's the other thing, and I'm curious what it is in your market on your MLS. We looked on the MLS the other day. June had less. It had 30% drop in pending sales in the month comparison to last year's month. Mm-hmm. So it had far less deals, and you're going to have, if you go back to last year, and you probably had actually more cancellations, but you had so many deals that the percentage is lower.
It's lower, yeah.
So the percentage is a little bit higher, the interest rate. It's just interesting to think about that. All right.
It is, yep. We'll have to see what July brings.
Well, that's a good question. I think July brings probably, and listen, by the way, depending on your market, right? 15%, depending on your market, depending on your price point that you work, depending on your experience in real estate, 15% for your business personally listening could be a natural fallout number. If you're a new agent, if you're working in a lower price point for your market where there are some more of these inspection issues, there are a bigger focus on the interest rate and the payment. Well, your deals could fall apart at a higher rate.
What's our team average?
It's closer to this 15% number.
Regularly.
For sure. Yeah.
Annually.
Yeah. Annually.
Yeah.
So this number doesn't scare me because we're not in a, we do some higher end deals, but we're not in an ultra luxury market. And maybe somebody in the ultra luxury market's like, my rate's high. I don't know. I'm just saying that it's market dependent and it's agent experience dependent.
100%.
We have a lot of new agents. We're training agents.
And
then sometimes when they're dealing that lower price point, again, you've got all these different variables where it makes more sense to educate the client out of the deal
100%.
And go find another deal.
For sure.
So
yeah. As long as all those 15% of the people are still in the market. That's always important.
But nationally, if you look at we could put the graph up again. Nationally, if you look, it's closer to, I don't know, I'd say 11 to 12%. It's between 10 and 15. It's kind of where it's been bouncing from 2017 till today.
Yeah, so we're not really talking about a tremendous amount, 3% maybe.
It's those 2021 months where it really dipped low because people were just waiving everything and rushing to get into the house.
Well, and the rates were so cheap, just gobble, gobble, gobble.
You saw that the beginning of this year when rates were still cheap and people were trying to get in before they went up, and now it's spiking up, and we know why. And I think that you may see this in July again. All right, right now. You've got people that feel like if it's not the right deal, I'm backing off. I'm going to be patient. We still haven't seen a bunch of inventory come on, whether it's like,
no,
hey, I'm going to be patient because so much inventory come on. There isn't so much more inventory coming on.
Right.
But
I think it depends on everyone's motivation, though, too. Like school's coming up soon. So if you have to get a house before school starts, obviously those people are still going to be buying. So
it also interesting is home builders are seeing higher cancellation rates. So Lennar, one of the nation's largest home builders, and CNBC said its most recent quarterly earnings report that its cancellation rate did increase to 11.8%, but it was still below its long-term historical average. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're starting to see it They're starting to make some preparation for maybe more cancellations. We talked about it on the last Real Word. If you didn't check that out, go check out that episode. Like, what can you do to prepare for this recession, the shifting market?
Yeah.
Builders are going to make shifts. Again, I think they're going to be very frugal. They're going to build for people that they know are going to buy, and they're not going to build excess, which is going to hurt our inventory even worse. So,
yeah.
A lot of different things going on here. All right.
Racket
Number two. Study. Recent study.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive year ever to move.
But first, do we want to talk about Tomo?
We can talk about Tomo. Absolutely. Good call,
wanna?
Nicole. Yeah. Go to
Hello,
the link below. Hello, Tomo. HelloTomo.com. But go specifically to the link below.
Yeah.
Where you can lock in a rate, right? It might avoid that last issue we're talking about.
Well, 100%. Because if you at least know your payment, know your rate, you're going to feel a lot more confident going into and I'll be, you know what actually, so as a listing agent, wouldn't you feel good knowing that person is already locked in their rate, so they know exactly what their costs are going to be?
They're less likely to back out.
No sticker shock, 100%. So, I mean, even coming in with them knowing that a rate is locked too, because on a lot of people's contracts too, that you put in, the percentage rate and all too as a contingency. So
in the link below, you can sign in as an agent. You can connect with Tomo. They've got deals in different markets. They're generating leads. They got the best tech in the industry, and they got this product, the Lock and Shop, which will allow your buyer to lock in for 120 days so that they can go shopping with peace of mind. And to Nicole's point, the seller would have the peace of mind. So go to the link below, Lock and Shop Tomo. All right.
Racket number two.
Racket number two, most expensive year to move ever. It's a new study from Hire a Helper, a moving resource. Some states and metros are seeing costs rise by nearly 40% year over year. The average cost of a move seems low. Was $400.
Seems really low.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think we were able to get our piano moved for $400.
$427 nationwide in May, about 15% higher than a year earlier. The study shows ballooning gas prices, supply chain disruptions, and 40-year high inflation are primarily fueling moving expenses, says Nadia Evangelou, a senior economist and director of the National Association of Realtors.
Oh, boy.
I wonder what her salary is.
We could probably look it up.
This means that people need to spend more of their budget on housing, she adds. This additional cost may discourage people from moving, resulting in an even lower mover rate in 2022.
I hope $400 doesn't discourage somebody from moving.
Yeah.
$400?
That is the average. I mean, people might be just moving like one thing and it's bringing the average down, but I don't know of any quotes to move a house that's anywhere close to that.
I have a client right now that they're closing here in Connecticut and they're moving their belongings to Maine, and it's going to cost them $6,000.
Well, it's interesting you say Maine is up 51% year over year. So Maine is the highest
so that makes sense because their mover is coming from Maine.
For an increase.
I think they're actually storing their stuff for a little bit there
too.
But.
So the top five, Maine 51% of an increase for moving costs since the start of 2022. Nebraska 30%, Utah 28%, Alabama 27%, Idaho 27%. Only 5 states saw a decline in moving costs. That was Kentucky, New Hampshire, Vermont, Minnesota, and New Mexico. Also moving getting pricier in most U.S. cities. 90 out of 108 cities saw moving in 2022 to be more expensive. So takeaway here for agents, real estate brokers, teams is I think it's a headache to try to get into the moving business. That is a service that some teams offer. They offer
a truck.
They offer a truck, so they like sign a waiver, and then the client has the truck, and they can move their own stuff, right? Which is a nice little perk. Like, hey, you don't have to go rent a U-Haul. Here's our team branded truck or van or whatever U-Haul.
I don't know. I think gone are the days of you wanting to move yourself, though.
Well, but some people do move themselves. I know. So and that's probably why the moving expense, now that just dawned on me, it's probably so low because they're just renting a U-Haul. That's the majority of people moving. They're renting not everybody's super bougie like you, Nicole, and they're going to have somebody else move.
I'll be honest,
not that you're going to move because you've been in the same house your whole life.
I'm never moving, but after I did move, like if I had to pack that stuff up without the movers, why even do it?
So if you got movers packing everything and doing all that, it's going to be a very higher cost. But the average is probably, hey, I'm renting a U-Haul. Okay, so there's some teams, some agents, brokers that have done this as a service for their client. That's a headache at times. Now, I think at the very least, everybody listening to this should say, I should have 3 or 4 reputable resources that I have a relationship with on the moving side, and I know their prices inside and out, and I can articulate this to people who have this question as opposed to like, oh, Google it, right? Like if you're a buyer moving to a different area, what level of service do you want? Do you want the agent that says, Google your moving costs? Or here are the 3 or 4 people that I recommend. Here are the prices. Here's where they're located. Here's who you talk to. And you just have the information. You sound like the expert. You know what the heck you're talking about.
Right.
So I would definitely encourage everybody to do that due diligence, create those relationships, go stop by the office. Just like an inspector is going to bring, bagels to your office, go stop in their office. Bring them a bagel. Bring them a donut. Get to know the person that's answering the phone.
Because I'll be honest, though, if it's a $425 expense, like maybe that's your gift. Maybe if you really partner with a moving company too, you can even. And
maybe if you're partner with the moving company, you don't have to buy the van. Maybe they're going to deck it out with your branding on the dashboard or something. So it's funny you say that because I've actually been talking to a dumpster company for that same purpose. Yeah, there you go.
We'll have to brainstorm that one.
Let's brainstorm the dumpsters. Dumpster diving.
Yeah.
After this. All right. Marketeer of the week.
Dumpster.
Potentially.
Well, it's not potentially. We are the second.
The last. No, but potentially the last marketeer ever.
We're talking about it again?
It's potential for this to be the last marketeer. I want to know in the comments. Are you emotionally attached to the marketeer, or do you want us to change this segment up to something wild and creative and innovative?
It's like you talking about selling your house.
All right. Speaking of innovation, here are the finalists for the 2022 Inman Innovator Awards. And Nicole, we are now 2-time nominees.
2-time nominees.
For the podcast section.
Who's that actor that got nominated 15 times and never won one?
Jim Carrey?
I don't know.
No, he must have won. He's a winner.
I feel like there's an actor.
Will Smith? No,
Will Smith?
He'll just slap
15 times? Do you think there's 15 movie-worthy opportunities for Will Smith?
Probably.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
I feel like
he's a big-time actor.
You can go through the list.
All right.
I mean, Sean Penn.
Here we go. In 2019, Nicole.
Yes.
We were nominated for Video Podcast Show.
Yes.
Oh,
that's what it was. That was the first year that was a category.
So they've been doing the Inman Innovator Awards since 1998. They're going to be announced at Inman Connect Las Vegas in August.
Yep.
And back in 2019, we were on the list of Video Podcast Show. So this is our second time getting back on the finalist list. Not only did we make the finalist list in 2019, Nicole, but we were the first runner-up to the winner. So we made the top 3. They go winner, first runner-up, and second runner-up. So that year, it was Real Estate Sessions with Bill Reiser.
Yep.
We were the first runner-up for this show, The Real Word, and second runner-up was the Massive Agent podcast with Dustin Brom.
Yep.
Dustin's been on the walkthrough a couple times here.
Oh, yeah?
As of late. Love Dustin. And so now we are, and we'll link up all the different categories. There is brokerage, company of the year, agent or team. By the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to, I thought they were, the Bond Street Partners, the agency, James and Harris, David Parnes. They are BAM contributors, so they're on the list there for agent or team. Brokerage, real estate tech, and then video podcast again. So
we're here.
Here are the finalists: Building Blocks, True Realty, Built How Podcast, Ben Kinney and Debbie D. Grote. Ben Kinney obviously is just all over the industry, just dominating. Brad McCullum, love Brad, BAM contributor, Calgary realtor. He's got a great YouTube channel. We've talked about Brad. Brad's amazing. Coffee with Kevin and Amy, and Over Ask Pod with the Broke Agent. And so we got to compete against.
It's funny because
the BA and Matt
made
another
a post
BAM
on
podcast.
Facebook, and I'm like, what? I don't get a tag? You're unfriended.
The Real Word, and then listed by Sirhan. So you've got 2 of the 7 finalists are BAM Broke Agent Media podcast, Nicole.
Yeah.
What a great little feather in the BAM cap.
Good. We'll have to
I love
celebrate that one when we're in
We'll definitely celebrate that when we're in Dallas.
Dallas.
But just maybe, Inman, will I be in Las Vegas? Because here's the deal. We were asked if we were showing up in 2019, and I think that's why we didn't win.
Go, though?
I think there was a schedule conflict, and Inman didn't want to throw in any bucks. But it was also the reason I believe
You're going to go without me?
We didn't win.
You're going to go without me?
Well, you're going to be on vacation.
I am going to be on vacation.
What, are we going to cancel your vacation?
No,
I would go without you. So, Inman,
okay.
I could
so
potentially be there
alone.
If we're going to make Over Ask runner-up to the Real Word, I would definitely show up.
Because Matt's going to be there. We already know
Matt's
going
to
be there because he's on stage.
But I might be there, and I think it's only right to redeem what happened in 2019. We were supposed to be the winner. Is what I hear through the grapevine, but because we didn't show up, we got the first runner-up. So let's redeem that, make Real Word the winner, and it's only fair. I mean,
what do we do?
It's a longer pod than all these other ones.
Will I get to throw a party?
We'll throw the party in Dallas.
In Dallas, how many parties are we throwing in Dallas?
Lots. By the way,
oh my God,
Haley, because Bobby's out on vacation, link up the Tom Ferry Summit tickets below. If you want to join us in Dallas, you got to get tickets first, and then we'll get you into the BAM event.
Unless they're like out, they're just waiting outside for everyone to leave.
Get the tickets to the summit. We're gonna link those up. Cheapest spot you can get Tom Ferry Summit tickets. Link below. So make sure we link that. And congrats on being a finalist.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does this mean to you at this moment of your life, Nicole?
Not too much.
Whoa! Now we're definitely not winning. It means a lot to me.
I'm kidding. No,
forget about Nicole.
It's great. I mean, we've already, again, people have been emailing, congratulating us. It's funny because for me, I know that this whole podcast world is like I just sit here because you ask me to. But it's funny because you kind of sit here, you're talking into a microphone. No one's like cheering you on around you.
Haley's cheering back there.
No, I know Haley is. So it's just, it's nice to know that people are listening, that they're watching, that they're interested. I know that you're probably much more interested in Byron than you are in me, but
I don't know.
It is definitely appreciated that, we're not just sitting in this room, recording just to hear ourselves talk and
we would've
smell each other's coffee breath.
I mean, heck, episode 1 got us, free first class tickets. And now, Inman, we're asking for more, at least one free first class ticket for me here on episode 230. So anyways, appreciate that. Appreciate the love, Inman. Love being on that list and love being on with
the amazing
Eric
individuals.
And Matt. If they win, I don't know that they're going to let me live it down. So we got to redeem 2019.
What do we have to do? Do we have to
put the Real Word on top?
GoFundMe page or something?
Well, I think Inman from here just picks it. I think it's up to Inman now. So
people don't get to vote.
Have to do some lobbying, I guess.
I think there may be some lobbying.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thanks for everything. I mean, this has been a pretty long journey here, the Real Word, and this is another moment to reflect. And really appreciate you guys for listening, reviewing, subscribing,
maybe we'll get another
watching.
Gadget if
we might get another thing. We you get a trophy for sure. Yeah. So we'll get a.
We definitely need to win now.
We have it's like a high school, boys' bedroom here with all the trophies
boys' bedroom.
we have.
I think it's more like a girl's.
Or a girl's. Or
Easy.
Anything bedroom. It could be a pet's bedroom, for crying out loud, with all these trophies. All right. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. Keep it real.
See you guys.